Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a 2005 Saab 92x. This car belongs to my buddy Daniel, who flew all the way to Pennsylvania for the car to drive it all the way back to Florida in Gainesville. So I give him mad props going all the way to Pennsylvania to get a car. But sometimes that's fun, just going on an adventure to get your new toy. The first thing you realize when you drive this car is that it might be a Saab, but there's a lot of Subaru. When you're in it, you realize the gauges are pretty much Subaru. The steering wheel is a rebadged Subaru steering wheel. The wagon overall is a lot like the Subaru wagon shape. And the motor, of course, is a Boxer. It's a 4-cylinder, it's a flat 4, and it's a 2-liter. And so you get that nice little bit of grunt behind it. It has that torquey 4-cylinder. It's a lot of fun. It's so quiet though. You don't get that Subaru Boxer sound as much, and there's no blow-off valve either. So when you let off the gas, you hear a little bit of turbo noise, but not that much. The motor is an EJ205, so we're talking about a turbo that is yay big. Not big at all, but with that, you don't have any lag. So that's the benefit of that. Along with very Subaru-esque things, it's all-wheel drive as well. So when you go around bends, it's a lot of fun because you just go for it. And wow, yeah, lots of grip. That was a lot of grip. Woo! Okay, unlike a normal Saab, which Saab is very associated with a nice luxury car, this has coilovers on it. These are KW coilovers, and you can really feel it. The body roll is still there of a wagon, but really not that bad. That's the thing, a lot of people hate on wagons, and I'm here to tell you to not hate on wagons, because think about it. You have performance, you have all-wheel drive in this car, and along with that, you have crazy amount of space in the back. I mean, nowadays I think wagons are having a comeback too. I mean, you got the AMG wagons, the CTSV wagon, that thing's sweet. So all that argument goes to, like, with a family car, if your wife's telling you, well, you can't buy a performance car. Oh no, yeah, you can get a wagon. Exhaust setup on this car is a 3-inch turbo back exhaust, which goes to an STI muffler. It is an OEM muffler, so it really does quiet the car down a lot. Daniel's telling me that it's too quiet for his taste, which I'm on the verge. If it was just a little bit louder, I think it would be perfect. Oh, first gear pulls real good. And the red line is at 7,000. Woo! Keep on going, keep on going, keep on going, and stop. Even though the car's on coilovers, I'm floating over these bumps like it's nothing. I think another thing though, when you have a quieter performance car, your confidence is almost higher because it's not as drastic, it's not as dramatic. So you're just like, oh yeah, I got this. It's just a nice, calm sensation. Speaking of that wagon space I was talking about earlier, you might notice a crap ton of stuff back in here. You might notice the wheels and tires in the back. He's recently going from the stock format to 225s, which I think will make the car handle even better. Even on this stock form, still a great time, a lot of fun. Saab is one of those brands where it's not that I don't like them, it's one of those brands I just never really knew that much about. Growing up, you know, it was just one of those brands that was like, here's everything else, and here's Saab, it's over here. And you'd be cruising down the road when I was a little kid and say my mom or dad's car, and I would see that Saab logo. I'm just like, what is that? There's a lion on it. That's cool. You know, when I started reading up about it, I was just kind of confused because, you know, they share platforms from other companies and that sort of thing. But overall, I really have not ever been in a Saab except one other time. So this is definitely a cool experience, being a car brand that I've really never experienced. It's funny also that some people take this front end and put it on the Subaru wagon called a Subaru, and that's been a popular thing, or a popular trend nowadays as well. The best way to put this is like you take a Subaru and you class it up. It's nice and low key. It's not as loud appearance-wise or exhaust-wise as, say, an aftermarket Subaru. This also has a stage 2 tune, so you get that little bit of get-up, just upping the boost by that much. This is running 18 pounds of boost. Along with that, it also has the Sti Steering Rack, which is just a little bit quicker than the normal WRX. So it's very, very direct when you turn in. The car goes exactly where you want to go. Another difference between, say, this and the WRX model is that the sound deadening. It is much quieter, like I said, not just because of the exhaust, but also due to the sound deadening systems in this car and the materials. So with those materials, it adds about another 100 pounds to the car. But is it worth it? If you're on a long road trip, I can imagine this is nothing. It must be nice. The clutch in this car is a sprung organic clutch. It's a stage 2. Has a little bit of beefiness to it. Each pedal in this car has like a different feeling. Like the resistance to each pedal is different. So usually you have the clutch pedal and the gas pedal are usually around the same, but it's not. You get on the brakes and there's a little bit of play in the pedal. Like you go a little bit on it and then you hit it, and then it brakes. Another thing about the car is that it has a 5-speed gearbox, which is actually pretty tough to find in these kind of cars as well. It is pretty easy to find autos, but he wanted a stick shift along with a sunroof, and that's actually harder than you think. There was only one he could find, and that is why he went all the way to Pennsylvania to grab this car. Another thing is the shifter has a little bit of slack in it. It has nice, clean, precise shifts when you get into the gear, but when you're kind of in the middle of the gear, it has a lot of play in the shifter. Like when you're in the neutral area, it's a little bit loose, which is not so bad, but it's a little bit to get used to. So the front end of this car, it looks great. I really like the front end of this car, along with the stereotypical hood scoop. It's almost a contradiction. You have the meaner but classier front end, and then you have the vicious kind of Subaru-esque hood scoop. So it's the best of both worlds. Also, the yellow fogs and the HIDs really make the silver color pop in this car too. When you see it go down the road, everything works together. It's funny because you have a air-fuel ratio gauge in the car, but it's just kind of laying in place. It's right next to the climate control system, and there's nothing holding it in. It's just kind of sitting there, which a lot of people do. They're just too lazy to hook up, to bolt it up to anything. But meanwhile, the boost gauge is in the air vent, so it's good to kind of see right there, line of sight, where the boost gauge is. The car is pushing approximately 230 horsepower to the wheels, but it's one of those cars where it feels fast due to the way it distributes the power, the way the all-wheel drive system puts it to the ground. It has a nice torquey, throw you back in your seat kind of feeling. EJ motors are always been known for their torque, and it definitely shows even in this car. Alright guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this quick little review video. I appreciate every single one of you guys watching it. I hope you had a good time, because I had a great time driving this Saab slash Subaru slash wagon slash Saab. And I want to thank Dan so much for stopping by in Richmond to let me drive this car. I really appreciate it, and I hope he has a great trip back to Florida. So I will see you guys next time, and take it easy. Have a good one.